This is Joy Roland, and you are listening to the Joyful Money Podcast. This is episode number 77, the top 5 money blocks that may be holding you back. Welcome to Joyful Money, the podcast where we focus on making money the joyful way. We are done with the stress and anxiety that typically come with making money. Will feature extraordinary and inspiring business owners who are making a huge impact by sharing their gifts and talents with the world. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea and let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 77 of the Joyful Money Podcast. I am happy, I'm excited, I am grateful, I'm thrilled, all of the things. This week has been an excellent week for me in my business, and I'm grateful to God for all of the blessings I have. I hope your week is going very well too. I hope you're seeing progress in your businesses, and I hope you're crushing it because we are well into the second half of 2024. So, this is a very good time to reevaluate your goals. Are you on track to reach your 2024 goals? If you are not, this is a great time to pivot, right? Many times as human beings, when we do one thing over and over again, it might be very difficult to pivot, but that is the beauty of building a business. You get to pivot and you get to decide how you move forward. So if you've been doing one thing for a very long time and it isn't working, my friend, it's time to try something else. Okay. I hope you're open and you're um excited to try new things because yeah, it's so exciting when you create success, and I'm blessed. I'm at that stage in my business where I'm beginning to see the fruit of all of my efforts, and it's just a blessing. How is your summer going? Oh gosh, we're well into the summer, and it's just fun for me to take my daughter to all of the events, all the summer events. We have very nice weather here in Canada at the moment. I live in Ontario. And yesterday I was at the park. I spent about 3 hours at the park with my daughter. And it was just the most fulfilling experiences I had. Um, just being with her and just spending time. And I think it's a blessing to have a business where it gives me that liberty during work hours, right? If I was still in a full-time job, I doubt if I'll be able to do that. So I'm definitely feeling blessed and grateful. And another thing that actually makes me excited this week is for the past couple of weeks, I've been meeting very exciting people who are doing great things in their lives and businesses. I think that's one of the perks of being a business owner. I get to be in rooms and masterminds with the best minds in the industry. And it's just a blessing to see how people are creating success in their businesses using tips, strategies that I teach on this podcast. Now, many times we listen to podcasts and it just feels like they're telling you what you can read in business books, right? Books on entrepreneurship. So my goal for this podcast is to bring to you real life examples how people I don't want to use the phrase ordinary people, how people like you are creating success. Because many times, like if you listen to like the Oprah show or any of those top shows, it feels like the people that feature on those shows are a different personality. Like it feels like they are a different type of human beings, right? So, my goal for this podcast is to bring real people that we can relate with, right? To inspire you to take action, to inspire you to build wealth, to inspire you to be an example of what's possible. And so I am excited to bring some of those conversations to you. I'm going to be having real life conversations with people who are doing amazing things so that you can learn and you can implement and you can actually take action in your business that will give you the results you're looking for. I've said it many times on this podcast. My goal is to get to $1 million in a 12-month period. And this week, I got to speak in a mastermind about the importance of saying your goal out loud. Many people are very uncomfortable to talk about what their money goals are. And here's the thing, when you talk about your money goals, I think it sets the creation process into motion. When you speak something out and it gets into the universe, this is how I think about it. The angels in heaven start to put things in motion to make that thing happen. So it's very important that you speak out your goals, write it out, put it somewhere you can see every single day. So it builds that belief in yourself. So in the next few episodes, I'm going to be bringing to you real life conversations I'm having with people that will give you the strategies, the actionable tips that you can implement real time to get the results you're looking for. So I'm very excited about. And that's what actually informed the title of this episode today. I want to talk to you about the top 5 money blocks that may be holding you back. See, here's the thing. Being a coach, I get to coach a number of people and I see how they struggle with money blocks. I see how those money blocks are keeping them from building wealth. And here's the thing, it may be surprising to you to hear that everybody has money blocks, one form of money blocks or the other. Now, in some episodes back, I told you about a woman I met who she's earning, well, her business brings in about $1 million every month in sales, right? $1 million every month in sales. And she told me that she feels like a fraud. Can you imagine? She feels like a fraud and she feels like she's going to lose all of the things she's created. That's an example of a money block. It doesn't matter how much you earn. Everyone has money blocks. Your job is to identify your money block and to work on crushing those money blocks. So that's what we're going to cover in this episode. So you might ask me, especially if you are new to mindset work, you might say, well, what are money blocks? Well, money blocks, a very simple description of what money blocks are. Money blocks are mental patterns, mental beliefs that hinder your financial success. Simple as these are thoughts that you think over and over again, thoughts and beliefs that you think over and over again that stops you from the wealth and abundance you truly deserve. Now, most times, these money blocks are subconscious, right? Because you might say to yourself, well, logically, I know that making more money is good for me. I know that making an extra 100K, 100,000K in a year will help me. Well, logically, you know that, right? But there is a part of your mind called the subconscious mind where all of these money blocks are living in. Okay? This is a part of your mind where your logical brain may not be able to access. It's just a subconscious belief. So, how do money blocks manifest? Well, here are popular ways that money blocks manifest. One is procrastination. Do you find yourself procrastinating? Like, you know, you have to do income generating activities in your business, but you find yourself procrastinating. For example, you know you have to make offers, you have to tell people about your offers, but you find yourself procrastinating. That's an example of money block. Maybe it's perfectionism for you. Perfectionism is an example of money block. So let's say you're constantly wanting everything to be perfect. And so that holds you back from actually making progress. Another one is self sabotage. You know what you're supposed to do, but you find yourself doing the opposite. That's self sabotage. Another one is limiting beliefs. Yes, that's an example of how money blocks manifest. Limiting beliefs, beliefs that hold you back, beliefs that tell you you're not worthy, you don't deserve money. So, so when I give you these ways that money blocks manifest, then you see why that woman who whose company makes $1 million in sales every single month, it makes sense that she feels imposter syndrome. It makes sense that she thinks that she's going to lose everything. Those are money blocks. You need to feel deserving of money. You need to step into your identity as the person who God has created to create and experience wealth and abundance. So until you assume this identity, it's going to be difficult not to have imposter syndrome, right? Which was what I told this woman whose company makes over $1 million in sales per month. Until you become a wealthy person in your mind, you're going to feel like a fraud. So you have to feel deserving of money. You have to feel like abundance and wealth is your birthright. Now, what are common signs that you might be experiencing money blocks? Well, a typical one is financial struggles. If you're constantly struggling financially, that's a sign you have money blocks. If you have job dissatisfaction, if you constantly worry about money, yes, that's a sign of money blocks. If you have difficulty with your relationship with money, that you have difficulty saving, you have difficulty in investing for your future, that's an example of money block. If you have low confidence in money issues, money matters, that's an example of money block. If you constantly feel stuck in your life and in your business, that's an example of money blocks. I know you might then ask, well, what causes money blocks? Why do we have these money blocks? Well, most times it's because of past traumatic experiences. So, past traumatic events, maybe in your childhood, maybe you experienced an event when you were a child that was traumatic, and then that kind of gave you a foundation to have those money blocks. It could be negative messages you received as a child around money. A typical one, well, I'm going to cover this later, but the popular one is money doesn't grow on trees, right? Another cause of money block is feeling unworthy, feeling undeserving of money. That can cause money block. So for me, I have um, examples of money blocks from my childhood. My childhood was filled with chronic poverty, right? And I've talked about this on this episode many times. And so I remember very clearly my dad was owing somebody and he didn't pay up. And the person kept coming and coming and coming. And I think the person had enough. And one day my dad was arrested and put in jail for owing money. And I remember very vividly going to the jail to visit my dad with my mom. I was still very little. I must have been 6 or 7 at the time. So that experience created a money block in my mind. I had to work through my money block. So I want you to start thinking, what childhood experience did you have that maybe affecting your money results? Now, I had a client in the past, and I've talked about my this client in previous episodes, but she lost her mom to cancer very sadly. She lost her mom to cancer very sadly when she was 7 years old. And that terrible experience from the belief inside of her mind, inside of her subconscious mind, that good things don't last. Wow. Isn't that profound? Somehow her subconscious mind has made a correlation between losing her mom tragically to cancer at the age of 7 to money. Meaning, if she made more money, money wouldn't last. She just had this belief that good things don't last. Because how can something so good as having a mom be taken away from you? Right? That's getting me emotional as I talk about it. So, we have experiences in the past that if we don't go back to address, when I say go back to address, I mean looking at how that experience affects us now. Because obviously we can't go back and change what we experienced, but we can change how we allow it to affect us right now. Here's another example from one of my clients. So, money was borrowed from her piggy bank when she was a child and never returned. So as children we used to have piggy banks, and so she would save money in the piggy bank, and her dad would say, "Oh, can you borrow me some money from your piggy bank?" Her dad would borrow, right? But when her dad borrowed the money never came back, right? And so subconsciously, she's formed the correlation that she is not deserving of money. She formed the correlation that if you don't spend money, people will take it away from you and never return it. And so she's a chronic overspender. She would find it very difficult to hold on to money. When money came, when she was paid a salary, she would spend until there was no money left. So that's an example of how that experience of money being borrowed from your piggy bank and not being returned is now affecting the person now as an adult who is trying to build wealth, right? So, what are examples of money blocks? An example could be, well, making more money means working harder. This is one that keeps a lot of people stuck. You feel like if you want to make more money, it means you're going to work harder. And this stems from the phrase we heard as a child, money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard to make money, right? Did your parents tell you that? You have to work hard to make money? And in my head, when I hear hard, I think of the construction guy working on a construction site under the sun, sweating and working hard. That's hard work. So if my brain pictures that as hard work to make money, and then I'm trying to build a business online from the comfort of my beautiful home with a laptop, can you see how your brain is going to have cognitive dissonance and it's going to say, well, there is no way you can make money in a lovely home, sitting in front of your computer in your beautiful office, making money, right? Because your brain has associated working hard with building wealth, right? So that's an example of money block. So does making money the easy way, the fun way, does that seem foreign to you? Your brain cannot rationalize, well, how can you make money, build immense wealth, and have fun at the same time, right? So, your job is to make your brain believe that it is possible to have fun the easy way, make money the easy way while having fun. Here's another example of a money block. I'll pay more taxes if I have more money. This was one of mine too. I'll pay more taxes, right? This is one money block that holds so many people back. Another one is money doesn't bring happiness. I call this a cop out, right? A simple excuse not to make an effort. Money doesn't bring a happiness, right? Well, money doesn't bring happiness, but it's up there with oxygen. You need money to survive in the world we live in today. Okay? Yeah, money doesn't bring happiness, but money helps you buy comfort, right? Another one is people will constantly ask me for money. Yes. This is one money block that holds a lot of people back. They're afraid that their family and friends will constantly hound them for money. Another one is I'll have to sacrifice time with my family if I want to make more money. Yes, that's an example of money block. My friends will leave me when I become so successful. Ah, this is one fear that holds a lot of people back. My friends and family will leave me when I become uber successful. And then the last example I'm going to give you is rich people are evil and greedy. Yes, this is a very popular one. Rich people are evil and greedy. So then, if you have this belief, obviously a subconscious belief, can you see how your subconscious mind is going to hold you back from making money? Yes, because your mind doesn't want you to become evil and greedy. And so it's going to keep you under the poverty line. It's going to keep you struggling with money. So, how do you break through money blocks? Because obviously, I want you to break through your money blocks so that you can finally create the wealth and abundance you deserve, the wealth and abundance you want, the wealth and abundance that God has destined for you. The first step is awareness, right? Becoming aware of your personal money blocks. And how do you become aware? Well, you do the inner work to uncover what's been holding you back. Very shockingly, not many people know how to identify what they think about. If, as the Bible says, what a man thinks, as a man thinks, so he is, right? And I was talking to one of my mastermind members this week, and I said, well, surprising how I had to go through the life coach school, pay $23,000 to go through the life coach school to understand what the Bible meant by as a man thinketh, so he is, right? Exactly. That's the whole premise of the life coach school. Identifying your thoughts, changing those thoughts so you can ultimately change your results. Yes. And so it's so surprising how many people are unable to identify their thoughts. If your thoughts are the bedrock of your financial success, it makes sense to be able to identify your thoughts and change those thoughts so that they serve you. So that's the first step, awareness. Being aware of the thoughts you think over and over again that have created the life you have now. Because if you want to change your circumstances, you have to change your thoughts. Because all of the thoughts you think now have created the results you have. So once you become aware, the next step is to understand the impact of those thoughts on your life. Understand the impact of those thoughts in your wealth creation journey. So, if you know that having the thought rich people are evil and greedy, if you know that that thought is holding you back and you understand the impact, then you can change it. And then the last step to breaking through your money block is neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Well, neuroplasticity is the ability of your brain to change, of your brain and my brain to change. Lately, I've been reading the book, The Brain That Changes Itself, and it's so powerful to see evidence of how the human brain can change because up until now, the popular belief was um, when there is a brain damage, for example, then it cannot change. But now scientists and medical professionals have found that the brain is capable of changing, like physically changing. So, neuroplasticity would help you uninstall those beliefs that don't serve you. So, you know how you uninstall a program on a computer and a laptop? You get to uninstall those beliefs that no longer serve you. When you uninstall those beliefs, you get to install new beliefs that will serve your future. And this involves actively shifting your mindset and adopting the beliefs that would overcome your current limiting beliefs. So you might ask, well, why does this work matter? Why do I have to do all of these things? Well, you get to change the trajectory of your family. You get to set your family up for success. You get to set your family up for wealth and abundance in the future. You become an example of what's possible for your children. And they will see that you practically live with good money habits and you have an excellent relationship with money. So imagine the experience I told you about my dad being locked up in a prison because he was owing money. That was my childhood experience. So imagine the kind of experience I am now giving to my daughter. So she's now seeing the opposite of that. She's now witnessing how to make money, how to build wealth, and she sees her mother, me, as an example of what's possible. And that's what I want for you. I want you to change the trajectory of your family so that you break the cycle of poverty. Now, there is no use of you listening to this podcast, of you listening to this episode and not doing anything about it. Action step for you. I want you to journal and identify your money blocks. I want you to question your money blocks. Question each of them by saying, is this true? Go into the world and find evidence to dispute your belief. So, for example, if your money blocks is rich people are evil and greedy, well, can you find evidence to the contrary? Can you find wealthy people who are kind and generous? I have a ton of examples of people who are extremely wealthy who are the best humans on earth. You go get the example for yourself so that you can show your brain it's possible to be wealthy and be kind and generous. And then you need to start programming new beliefs into your brain. Like, I can be wealthy, I can be very wealthy and be a kind human being. That's a belief you need to install in your brain. You need to tell your brain, well, I can be very wealthy and still have a loving marriage and still be a great mother to my children. I can be very wealthy, pay taxes, and still be happy. I can hire a smart accountant to help me leverage legal tax strategies to reduce my tax liabilities. So if your money blocks, one of your money blocks is you're going to pay more taxes, well, you need to install in your brain that, well, I can hire a professional who knows legal tax strategies to help me reduce my tax liabilities. Many wealthy people do that, right? And that's why you hear all of the things you hear in the news of these uber successful wealthy people paying less than $1,000 in taxes, right? Because there are legal tax strategies that you can use to reduce your tax liabilities. Another thing you need to install in your brain is I can have money and it will stay and not leave, right? I can be wealthy and still have quality friendships. Making money can be easy. I want you to just think about that for a second. Making money can be easy. It's possible. Yes. With just your laptop, you can create extraordinary wealth. My mentor, Brooke Castillo, says this all of the time. She says, I'm just a woman with a laptop. Well, a woman with a laptop is currently earning over $67 million per year as a life coach, right? So I want you to entertain that money can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. In fact, in one of my masterminds, the leader of the mastermind, his name is Adam, and he was talking last week about how right now he's constantly looking for more things to do in his business because he feels like he has so much time on his hands. So he goes to the beach during the day. Obviously, it didn't start like this, right? But he's built his business to the point where he's delegated a lot of the task, and now he has so much free time, and he's coming to his staff to say, give me work, I want to work, right? So it's possible that money can be easy. I want you to entertain that. So I hope you found some insights in today's episode. That's all I have for you, but you have an assignment, right? Go back, do your assignment for this week. And why is this important? Well, because that's how you're going to get results. There is no use of you listening to this podcast and your life remaining the same. My goal is for you to change in order for you to see your wealth and abundance grow. Okay? I'll see you back here on the next episode. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Hey, very quickly before you go, if this podcast inspired or encouraged you in any way, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share this with a friend. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate your kindness and generosity in doing this. We'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye bye.